So I was single for 6 years and I got married in 6 months. But I was single for 6 years because I over spiritualized dating. I'm going to tell you how I stopped over spiritualizing dating and met my husband. Let's get into it. Hey ladies, welcome back to our channel. My name is Jumoke Win and I'm one half of When I Love. My husband and I, we run this platform, run this business to help expand God's kingdom through the ministry of marriage. And how we do that is by helping women to date with intention and to meet their kingdom partner. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, make sure that you do subscribe and hit that bell. Subscribe and hit that bell so that you can continue to get more great notifications. So another little talky chatty video, but this is going out on Wednesday. The talky chatty video is going out on Friday, but I just recorded that before this. Anyways, this is going to be a free-flowing video, and I want to talk about how I stopped over spiritualizing dating. So let's talk about where I was, how I stopped, and then how I met my husband, okay? In college, I was with my ex. We were together for a year and a half. I thought he was the one simply because I prayed and I asked God, I said, okay, God, the next guy that I meet, I would like for him to be my husband. Then I met my ex and I prayed about it and I'm like, is he the one? Which I realize now, obviously looking back over a decade later, it was really foolish, right? It was really that prayer just did not make any sense. If anything, I shouldn't have been praying prayers like that. I should have been studying the word. But that's just the place I was at the time. I was still a new believer. Then I met my ex. I prayed, God, see the one. Didn't really hear anything. Didn't feel any resistance. We started dating. I'm having dreams. Things were going well. And then he breaks up with me. So he breaks up with me. I was heartbroken. Heart is shattered. And then I start having dreams that him and I are going to reconnect one day. And I had so many of these dreams that I'm like, okay, I rationalize that he is the one. God is saying that this is my husband. Again, not really biblical, but what did I know? Because I wasn't studying the Bible. Well, and if I was studying the Bible, but I wasn't studying it for that in particular, because the Bible is alive and active. So every time that you open up the Bible, like you see something different and something that you didn't realize before. Maybe in your first couple of years of being a believer, you notice it as you get older. So anyways, I just didn't see it the two times that I read the Bible, or I wasn't really focused on it. And I'm just like, okay, he's the one. That's what God said. God can't lie. He's going to come back one day. I just have to let him live his life, and I'm just going to live my life. I was living my life, and just years kept going by. Years were going by. He got into 2 other relationships. And at some point, I just had an emotional breakdown, especially when I found out that he got into another relationship because we had actually reconciled. And I'm thinking, okay, this is it. I'm not going to mess this up. And he still didn't want to be with me, right? He didn't want to be with me. He didn't choose me. And I'm sitting there. This is when I actually started to say something is wrong here. I think by year 4, I said something is off here. Something is wrong. We reconciled in year 3. Now it's year 4. I'm still single. I thought I would be married by 25. How old was I then? Maybe I was 27, 26, 27. I don't remember. But I think 27. And that's when one day I was reading the Bible and I stumbled across the story of Moses and the burning bush. And in Moses and the burning bush, God speaks to Moses through a burning bush, and he tells Moses to go tell Pharaoh, let my people go. And I think maybe about 4 times, Moses says, no, don't want to do it. No, I have a stutter, I have this, that. At the end, he just says, hey, I don't want to do it. Go send someone else. And the part that blew my mind is the part when it said, the Lord's anger burned against Moses, and he said, what about your brother Aaron? He's already on his way. And I said, wait a minute. Lord, you were not about to wait for Moses to take speech classes for you to free your people. Your people were in slavery. You had things to do. You just used another means to get the job done. And not even that, but your plan B was already on his way before plan A even finished saying no. Before plan A, Moses even had a chance to finish rejecting God, Aaron was already on his way. That blew my mind. I said, wait a minute, God, hold on. If this man don't want to be with me, I gotta get married. See, unlike some of y'all women who think that marriage was just an option, that was never just an option for me. That was my calling at the end of the day. It was not something that I had doubt about, that it wasn't going to happen. I was like, no, I'm even delayed. I knew I was delayed because I was supposed to have been married. And I'm just like, well, if he doesn't want me, rise up another, right? Rise up another, because by your character that I'm studying your word, which is why I cannot stress this enough for especially young women, study the word. Getting slain in the spirit, casting out demons, all that stuff is great. But if you don't understand the word, if you don't understand what God says about marriage, if you don't understand his character, not just through a third party, through your pastor every Sunday, but you being a good Berean and searching the scripture to find out for yourself, and you laboring through text, showing yourself approved, it just falls flat. You need to read it yourself and get your own revelation. Okay. But when I read that, I said, okay, so God wouldn't, if God was in my position right now, right, and I'm supposed to imitate God, God would not be sitting here waiting for a man who's already rejected me multiple times. He rejected me when he broke up with me. He rejected me when he got into another relationship, and he rejected me again when he got into another relationship. That's three times. Three times the man said, I don't want to be with you, by his words or his actions, and I'm still here waiting for him. This is stupid, right? This is stupid. But at the time, even though the seed was there, but I think what gave it time to marinate and to blossom and for me to get married was simply going outside. Going outside. So after that point, I found myself in a new city. And the pandemic had waned. It was springtime, so it wasn't snowing outside anymore. And y'all, I was just going outside because I had ended this lifelong friendship and I was just trying to find myself. I was trying to make new friends. I really wasn't even trying to date. But the men's, they started to come out the woodworks. I'm talking about men, tall, handsome, have money, successful. Wow. Asked me on dates. I said, man, every time I went out, it's like I always got approached by some pretty decent men. And for the first time, I think at that point, 5 years, I started just accepting dates. And the proof of what was happening in reality was actually what pushed me into just moving forward with my life, because I had options. And I'm like, God, why are we waiting for this man? This man, but he's better than him. He's a better option. He's treating me well. He's identifying me. He's telling me, oh, you got the character of the type of wife and the mother that I want for my kids. I'm telling you, these men were treating me like a baby girl. Okay. And then when I moved back to Atlanta, and because I was in DC in the summertime, ciao. Okay. DC in the summertime was a lot of fun. In the springtime. And then I moved back to Atlanta, and I realized really quickly I had to change strategies, because honestly, I got to a point that I enjoyed dating. And I got to a point that I'm like, it felt so freeing. Like I like the fact that I could go outside, a man would approach me, he takes me on a date, he treats me well, we're getting to know each other to see if we align. Like, it just seemed to make more sense than what I was doing for the past 5 years at the time, which was just staying in my room, playing patty cake with my single friends, and warring against demons, fasting every single week. Like, all that stuff is great, but I wasn't doing the fundamental thing that was going to get me married, which was talking to men. Period. So when I came back to Atlanta, I realized I had to switch strategies, because I was going outside like I was going outside in DC, but I was living in a lower income area. And the quality of men and the caliber of men that was approaching me when I was in Atlanta, where I lived in Atlanta, was not the same as when I was in DC. So it was really just a snap decision. I remember just being in the parking lot. I'm like, why don't I try online dating? I'm already here. I want to go on dates. I'm enjoying being treated like a baby girl. Roster is empty. Roster is empty. Let me see what else is out there. And after being on the apps for 1 week, my husband and I, we super liked each other on Upward. It's a Christian dating app. And we went on the date the very next day. And in total, in 1 week, my husband took me on 4 different dates. Like, 4 different dates. Okay, so he was chase man. At first, It's not like I felt butterflies or whatever. It was just, this makes sense. And I remember after like maybe 2 dates or 2 or 3 dates, no, maybe 3 dates. I don't remember, somewhere. And I told my friends, I'm like, he has the character of a man that I would love to have as a husband and the father of my kids. It wasn't spiritual. It was just, I was observing his character. I was observing how he was treating me. I was observing how he moved before he even met me. I was observing even when it came to his patterns, his behaviors, how he dealt with family, because he's really family oriented. And all these things, I'm like, wow, this man is, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got something going on here. And from there, we got closer. And 6 months later, I got married. You know what I'm saying? So I got married 6 months later. But ultimately, it wasn't this over spiritual process. And when I got married and I finally got past the finish line, I remember telling my husband, I said, I think the biggest revelation I got from this is that marriage is more practical than it is spiritual. Yes, is there a spiritual aspect to marriage? Yes, but I do think in the church, especially the Black church, I think we have over spiritualized marriage to the point that it's actually keeping women single because they're doing all the spiritual works without applying any practical wisdom. They're not talking to men. Like, I just can't believe, like, that's the simplest thing, y'all. Like, you can do all the spiritual hoops, jump through all the spiritual hoops that you want to jump through. But if you are not talking to any new men, if you're not vetting through them, if someone is not vetting through them for you, if you don't have an arranged marriage, if you don't have a matchmaker, someone who's doing that work for you, you staying in your bubble for 10 years, not speaking to any new men, you don't want to marry anyone at the church, is delusional. And I was in that delusion thinking that if I just stayed in my parents' house and I prayed hard enough, what was going to happen? Like, I was sitting here thinking that, okay, God is going to send my ex through my front door. He's going to hit me up, or I'm going to walk outside. I'm going to meet a man. I'm going to meet the FedEx driver. I'm going to meet the UPS driver. This is how delusional I was thinking, y'all. I was thinking that, okay, maybe God's going to Amazon Prime him to me. Maybe he's going to be the man at the front door. It is crazy. All I had to do was go outside and talk to men. So that is how over spiritualizing delayed my love story, but this is how I stopped over spiritualizing and I met my husband. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section, you know what I'm saying? And if you want to work with us, make sure that you do hit that link in the description box if you want to work with us, if you want to join our academy, if you want to be one of our clients so we can help you get married. We love to have you, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.